All right, we live, baby. What's going on with you, Adika Butler? How you feeling?
I'm feeling excellent. How you feeling, bro?
Hey, I'm good. I'm good. Can't complain. Live another day. Breathe some air. Heart still pumping. I ain't mad at nothing.
I hear that. I know it's called Black Celiac, but I got my water here. I hope that's okay.
Hey, I got a water right here too. Don't even worry about it. It's good to go.
Yeah,
And also on the side, just a little Gentleman's glass. Just keep up with the theme of the show.
no doubt, no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Adika, man, tell me a little bit about yourself. Where you come from? What's the name mean? Where you hail at?
Oh man, my name. It depends on where you look. I was taught by my mother, who was from Jamaica. Both my parents are from Jamaica. I was born here in Brooklyn, New York, though. And my name, as I was, brought up, as I, learned it, means prince, firstborn
Mm-hmm.
of a family, of a household. It's a male name. Some people might be thinking like Adika, like that's, like what kind of name is that? But it's a Ghanaian name. So it means, the first. And it's a name given to, young boys. And, just to talk a little bit about myself, I'm a writer. I do a lot of different things. I write. I do creative consulting. I'm very much into the culinary arts. I went to a culinary school and got my certification. Haven't been doing a whole lot of work in that field, but I've been working in that field nonetheless. In my part time, for the most part, the way things are working right now, like I have other responsibilities that don't allow me to go as full on into that field as I would like to, the way that I would like to, because I don't want to work in a typical restaurant. I want to have my own business established, and I'm just kind of like still working out the kinks, so to speak, and things are coming along well. And I think that this year in particular, I'm gonna make some significant headway. But like I said, like I'm a philosopher, I'm a creative consultant, writer. I do a lot of different things. I probably would have to even be reminded of some of the things that I do, but
Oh, okay,
I
okay,
just
okay,
enjoy
okay.
life, and that's where I'm at.
Hey, you know what? It's a beautiful thing. Be able to start your own business and work for yourself.
Hmm.
Me just doing this podcast right now. I got my cousin who runs a pretty successful business as well. I
Hmm.
think one day if we ever all in the area, including Chris too, we all should link up, talk in person. That'd be great. You said creative consultant. What exactly things you're talking about here? What kind of creative? Music, arts? You mentioned
Yeah,
culinary.
yeah, pretty much like music. I've like talked to people who are like, just conceptualizing, like their albums. Just give them like creative feedback.
Okay.
Not, with the, lyricism as somebody might suspect I might do. Like I'm not a rapper per se, but I am nice with my pen. And if somebody, like spits a
Hey.
few bars, I can say, hey, you might want to just a little bit and say that, and even help conceptualizing some things, and even offer suggestions in terms of like the musical aspect. I don't speak the musical language, so to speak, because that's not really my field. But I grew up in a very musical home. My dad is a bass guitar player. You know what I mean? He did that for many years, and he had his own reggae band. So I have a
Okay.
musical background in that sense, so I can give advice and like offer my suggestions. I've also consulted other authors. I consulted an author who is a prominent hip hop promoter out in Canada. He's actually responsible for giving, like Drake his very first opportunity to perform
Ooh,
live in front of an audience.
that's
So
big.
yeah, he came out with volume one of his own book, where he pretty much gives like a history of the hip hop scene out in Toronto. And I helped to, edit that book. I wrote the forward and so forth and so on. And there's other people that I've worked with, some of whom, it's more of like a confidential type of thing. But I've enjoyed that as well. But, my main love is writing. I have a journalism background, and that's what I've done for a considerable amount of time. I would say close to 20 years.
Man, that's beautiful, dude. Yeah, even I think writing is how's the best way I could put this? All right, so check this out. You remember a couple years back when LeBron went back to Cleveland?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and this time around, he wanted to actually, instead of doing a show, the decision, all that, he wanted he wrote a pen, he opted pen in the I think the Players Tribune. I think that's what the magazine's called. And the reason why he wanted to write it was because it's almost it's writing is completely interrupted. It's your thoughts. No one can stop you from talking or getting your ideas on paper. So that's beautiful, man. It's just a constant stream of writing. Myself, I dab in some writing as well too. But
Okay.
I'm not on your level, publishing books or whatnot. Shout out
All
to
right.
MindGlow TV. Hey,
All
talk a
right.
little bit about that. What you got?
Well, you know, I got MindGlow TV. I haven't really gone, excuse me, as hard with it as, like I've, gone with my blog. It's kind of like something that's still in development. I have, a nice, amount of subscribers, not like, in the like, hundreds of thousands or anything, but, it's very modest, you know what I mean? And, I'm still like building up, my audience, so to speak. And, every now and then, like Chris and I will do videos. I might do a video by myself, just speaking on whatever topic catches my mind. And it just gives people like another avenue to hear from me, like kind of like, vibe into like, like subjects that they might, potentially be interested in away from the writing. But what's really allowed me to, like have like some level of staying power in people's minds is, my blog, which pretty much covers everything. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
like to say that because the way that I, put words together and the way that I conceptualize things, it's not any one thing. Like I feel like one thing can be connected to many different things. So if I'm talking about
Mm.
food, I'm not gonna just talk about food. I'm gonna incorporate mythology in there. I'm gonna incorporate possibly my own life experience in there. Things like that. So people have like a multi-layered experience when they're reading my work, and they can like internalize it and vibe with it on different levels. So that's really my thing, my MindGlow media blog. It's called thirdimax.net, and I recommend people check it out. There's like hundreds, literally hundreds of blog posts on a wide variety of subjects, and they're all pretty detailed. Most of them are pretty long, and it's engaging writing. I'm not, like that dry academic type writer. It's very colorful, so people would enjoy it.
Yeah, yeah, that's actually key. And it's today is weird, especially with the internet.
Mm.
You got to catch somebody, like even the intro. You got to catch somebody within seconds, or they just click
Also,
off real quick.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's why as soon as we started, I just got right to it. Just tell you about yourself, go and start talking.
Mhm.
Yeah, yes, you're absolutely right. Not that boring. What do you say?
Like an
What's the word?
academic, dry, style
Yeah,
writing. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Ain't nobody really trying to get that. Everybody wants that nice, real stream of consciousness. And
Right.
I haven't personally read your book yet. I bought it, so I'm just waiting for it to come in. But I don't want you to spoil it for everybody out there that doesn't have it. But talk about it a little bit. Tell me what the
Okay.
title is, and let the people know.
Oh, well, it's called Treasures of Darkness. I don't know if you can see it right here, because on my end it looks like a little window, but
Hey, that's a dope cover as well too. I was looking at that. I like that.
yeah, so it's called Treasures of Darkness, Living Jewels for Spiritual Resurrection. And essentially it's an inspirational self-help book that's pretty much filtered through popular culture, ancient knowledge, and world history. You know what I mean? It's a book about life. It's a book that you read and you feel energized and inspired to attack your day and enjoy attacking your day. Like you'll attack your day with a smile. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
trying to pursue whatever endeavor it is that you feel that you're put on this earth to pursue. And it's just like a lot of good information. But like I said, people can get information from Wikipedia. It's really the way that I attempt to put things together. I feel like it's kind of like reading like a play, so to speak. Even though it doesn't have like a consistent um, like interplay of like characters, so to speak, in the traditional sense. But when people read the book, they'll see what I mean, and it's very cohesive. But it's just a different type of book. Yeah, I've never seen anything quite like it. So it was a pleasure to write.
Wow, that's okay. All right, you got me with that one. So you said a lot right there. So let me take it back real quick. So you said you feel like the book, you writing the book, was able to answer your question of why you're here, what your purpose is on this planet Earth.
I think it did that for me in a sense, but I feel like I already had a good idea of that when I started writing. I think the reader, when they're reading it, like after they close that last page,
Hmm.
they'll feel like a certain charge, like a certain level of heat in their system where it's like, all right, I need to like, like really attack, whatever it is that I'm trying to like, like get into, whether it's, like something career oriented, something that is more of like a personal goal that, doesn't even have anything to do with making money, just something you might want to accomplish for yourself. It could even be losing weight, whatever. But I just think it's that type of book that really inspires people to be the best version of themselves. So
Right.
it's really
Okay.
about a book about life.
Yeah, and that's kind of like what I'm trying to do with this podcast too. I want to talk to everybody, just normal people, just doing things in daily life. If anything from retired athletes to chefs to doctors, nurses, lawyers, teachers, just people that really don't get to speak too much, that
Mhm.
aren't really heard. And I hope that this podcast, wherever it goes at, is able to give everybody a voice. Pretty much the way I look at it's like a snapshot of humanity. So, you know, yeah, glad you're here. And that kind of intertwines what I'm trying to do here as well, too. Just get the message out. Everybody, find their purpose with the book. So, I gotta do a complete 180 with you here because you brought something up. I wanted to dig into it, but you kept saying something, you kept talking good, so I had to let you keep going.
All right.
Hip hop. What do you think is the state of hip hop today? You're from Brooklyn.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. All right, Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn.
Best best I do or die.
Now Bed-Stuy, Crown. Yeah. Yeah, I was born and raised in Flatbush. I currently live in Crown Heights now, but been Brooklyn all my life. I love bro. I don't expect to die here, live here all my
Yeah,
life, but I love Brooklyn. There's so many different cultures, ethnic groups. It really allows
melting
you
pot.
to internalize, yeah, it really allows you to internalize the whole globe, in like one place. Like I live in a neighborhood that has like a lot of people from the Caribbean, West Indies, but I could walk 2 blocks over and you'll see nothing but Orthodox Jews. You know what I mean? And then I can jump on the bus, and in 20 minutes, it's more of an African American community, like say like in Bed-Stuy, and it's just a beautiful borough, and I appreciate it.
Okay, all right. So I want to get back at hip hop in a second,
Hip
but you
hop,
brought
yes,
yeah, no,
exactly.
what was that? I don't want to cut you off, but you brought something very interesting right there. We're just going with the flow of the conversation.
Right.
So Brooklyn, a melting pot, Orthodox Jews, Caribbeans, African Americans.
Mhm.
You got pretty much everybody living there.
Yeah, everybody's bringing something.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody's bringing their own culture and intertwining. So let me ask you this then.
Mhm.
It's kind of a heavy question. It's multi-layer, but I feel like that, everything you've seen, even me being here, Maryland, DC area too. There's a whole lot of cultures here as well, but Brooklyn, I think, is on a different level.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts on racism and what's going on in today's America?
Racism and what's going on in today's America. What's the funny thing?
Hmm.
I hear a lot of people of different races and ethnic groups. They say things like, you know, things are really getting bad. You know what I mean? We're more divided now than we were, ever. And I think what's really happened is that the advancements that have been made in technology has, allowed everybody to like just have a better view of what's always been going on. For so many years, Black people have been told, that, we're hypersensitive and we need to stop exaggerating and,
Right.
like, somewhere our life, anytime we point out the injustices that happen within the country. And I think now that everybody has a cell phone with a video camera on it, even I would think like maybe even like 10, 15 years ago, like people had videos on their phones, but it was more of a novelty. Not everybody had it, but now everybody has it. Crackheads have smartphones.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
not that you even have too many of those walking around anymore, but you get my point.
Yeah.
Everybody has a video phone, so anybody at any particular time can take out their camera and record injustices that are going on in real time. And I think people are just more aware, more cognizant, and are able to view the things that have always been going on in this country, from its foundation. And, it's an unfortunate thing, that, people have to endure, our people have to endure, this level of terrorism. And
Hmm.
it's, never quite looked upon as that, even though that's what it is. But yeah, it's just a crazy situation. But I think that there is a new mind that is arising in people, and people are thinking different. They're moving different, and I think that there's going to be a consolidation of those minds, and I think something beautiful and something new, something we haven't seen, is going to come out of that. I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't have my crystal ball in front of me right now, but I
Not
think
right now.
yeah, not right now. I think it's going to be something beautiful. I think, like the phoenix will rise out of the ashes of, what we're seeing right now, and something beautiful will emerge. I really feel that. I don't, like I said, I don't know how, but I really feel
Mhm.
that that's the future for you.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So Brooklyn, like I said, melting pot. So what's the love, the vibe, the energy you feel when you walk in the streets?
Uh, yeah, it's just a lot of history. You know what I mean? A lot of history, a lot of memories. Like I said, I've been here, like all my life. I've been to other places, but this is where I've lived. You know what I mean? Different parts of Brooklyn, of course, but um, just a lot of history, a lot of interesting people. You know what I mean? Like a lot of colorful personalities. I remember I had a ex who came to Brooklyn for the very first time like years ago, and within like an hour of her being here, like there was like a whole bunch of drama going on in the streets that she was seeing for the first time coming from the Midwest. And it was like, dang, like this is really Brooklyn, you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
it's just a lot of colorful personalities, a lot of beautiful people, a lot of sick people, a lot of stupid people, a lot of sweet people, beautiful people. I mean, everything that you can think. It's all rolled up in this tight ball of culture, and I love
I like it, man. I like that. It's
it.
kind of like DC. I mean, it's the same thing, you know.
Mm.
Like I said, smart
Chocolate
people, stupid
City.
people. What's
Yeah.
that?
Chocolate City, I was just saying.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's the same. I mean, it's the same thing, you know, down in the nation's capital. It's crazy. Honestly, it's almost like anywhere. Well, not anywhere. I mean, you know, Wyoming. You know, it's not too many black people out there, but you know, these major cities, especially on the East Coast. I mean, you got all sorts of cultures there: Arabs, Asians, everybody, Africans, individuals from the islands. So
Mhm.
I think it's better when everyone comes together. You know, peace, love, positivity, and they bring the best things of their culture forward. You know, like you said, something new can arise like the phoenix.
Mhm.
Yeah, I hope we can see it. But I
Uh,
tell you something new right now in the rising, or something new is arising right now, and it's in
what's
hip
that?
hop. It's in hip
Uh,
hop, man.
yeah,
I ain't a fan of what's going on right now.
yeah,
I mean, I'm pretty sure you've been paying attention recently with the disrespect of Tupac. Um,
yeah,
you got
uh,
cats going at J. Cole, you know, left and right. I mean, what you think about that?
yeah, yeah. It's the funny thing, and me and Chris, like we talk about this like all the time, man. I feel like there's really like space for everybody. You know what I mean? I just don't like the blatant disrespect. I think hip hop is one, although things are changing, I will say that, but I think it's one genre of music where ageism like really takes a really disrespectful tone. Like you look at other genres of music, whether it be jazz, rock and roll, R&B, whatever. People always pay respect to those who laid a path before them and made significant contributions to the particular genre that they're in. Like people give props, in these other genres, but for whatever reason, and like hip hop more so now than before when I was in high school, junior high school, college coming up. I feel like more now, it's like people is like, more inclined to say, well, like fuck them old heads. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
I don't really care about what they did. I don't listen to their music. It's unfortunate because what it does is it devalues history. And when you devalue history, what you do is you minimize the legacy of a thing. So they don't realize it, but when they knock greats who've contributed to the development of an art form of a culture, what they're doing is they're minimizing the culture that they're making money from. You know what I mean?
Right, right, exactly.
Understand that the more you give props and give respect to the people who are pioneers in your field, the more you're able to benefit because your art form is more well received. People see that you respect your art form and they treat you with more respect and they treat the art form with more respect. So I think it's just a lack of foresight, a lack of future thinking on the part of a lot of the younger artists. But even with that being said, I also don't like, like people who go too far, like just knocking, what they call, like the mumble rappers. I think, some of it, a lot of it actually, in my personal opinion, coming from the era that I come from, growing up on Cool G rap, Wu-Tang, Nas, Jay-Z, that type of thing, like it's a lot of it is garbage, but I wouldn't trash, like what a lot of these artists do. Some of what, they do, I think is beautiful and is dope. I rather call it melodic rap, as I heard Chris refer to it in one of our conversations, because it speaks more to what that subgenre of hip hop is. You know what I mean? And it's more respectful and dignified. Like sometimes I hear people say, "Well, it doesn't deserve respect because you can't understand, what they're saying. They're not using actual words." But if you go back and you listen to like some of the prominent classical like
Ooh,
new wave jazz of like the
yep.
early 90s, you have like
Mm-hmm.
Al Jarreau. There's a very beautiful video performance of an Al Jarreau concert where he's just improvising and going into his bag, and there's a lot of things he says that aren't actual words, but you can appreciate it because of the melodicness of it and the rhythmic tone that he gives off as he's doing his music, his art. So I think that some of it is good. Like I like the song Panda when it came out. I like some of Mingle's
Yeah.
work. I like some of Future's work. And that's just my thought. I think there's room for everybody, but as much as people say that this people tend to put the focus on that one subgenre of hip hop music, which is mumble rap. The rap that actually still sells, that people actually buy, is still the rap with all of the beats and the lyricism.
Mm-hmm.
J. Cole, from what I understand, the album just dropped last Friday, and
Broke
it's it's
sales.
already in the millions, and people are buying it. You know what I mean? Jay Z's 444 album, people bought it.
Beautiful album.
Yeah, So the people who sell, even a Drake, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He sells, and he puts some wordplay into his music. So yeah, like people tend to focus on these newer, colorful personalities because of how they present themselves, and they're very savvy in their use of the internet. But if you look at who's actually selling, you know what I mean, it's still the classical format of hip hop. So people just need to chill and allow the young people to do what they do, and things will take care of itself. I feel like music is going to be going in an even better place than it's been, only because it's harder to make money off of it. So the people who do it are doing it more than likely because they actually love music, as opposed to just saying, I can get a deal, put out a nice video, put some BS together, and before you know it, I'm a millionaire. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I think the people who are doing it for the most part actually love the art of making music. And with that, I think only good things can come out of that.
So this is how I feel right here. I think everything you said. I think you and Chris, we got to talk about how you and Chris met at some point tonight too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but how
um,
do you feel about the music, man?
yeah. I'm gonna tell you right now. I have no problem with like you said with mumble rap because me and Chris we talk about this as well too. Every rapper has their own lane. Like throughout the week, I'm rocking with Kendrick Lamar. Late night, I may put some Drake on. The
Kendrick
weekend,
Lamar is another one. Like he sells, you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. The weekend come, throw me some 2 Chains. You
Right,
know what I mean? These are Migos. These artists have their own lane for sure.
right,
What I don't like is the disrespect of legends that one aren't here to defend themselves. Rest in peace.
exactly.
Yeah, guys like J. Cole, who I mean, you can say what you want to about him with certain tracks, but like False Prophets, not False Prophets, but what's that one? He went at Wale and Kanye. I forgot the name of it right now.
I know which one you're talking about. That was
Yeah,
the album before this one.
yeah, yep. That's what it was right there.
I think it was
Uh,
False Prophets was the name of that one.
was it
So
False Prophets? I thought that was. I look it up. I'll look it up a little bit later.
yeah.
But yeah. Back to my point. The thing is that look at any other genre,
Mhm.
rock and roll. There's nobody out here saying no rock and roll artist saying, yeah, fuck the Beatles. They ain't shit. I got it right now. Anything jazz. Nobody out here, pissing on Duke Ellington's grave. Nothing crazy like that. So in hip hop, I just wish that we had the same respect for those who came forward, those who paved the way, pretty much.
Hmm.
And I mean, like you said, the game is completely changing. It's going to be something totally different than it was back in the 80s and 90s. But
Hmm.
at the same time, it's like the NBA. If you have a 3-point shot, you're always going to be on somebody's team. Like Kyle Korver with the Cavs. He can't play defense for shit. He can't guard anybody. He ain't gonna break nobody off the dribble. But when he get behind that 3-point line and he get the ball in his hand, watch out. The same
Already.
thing for same thing for lyricism in hip hop. As
Hmm.
long as you got bars and you could crank out something over instrumental, you're gonna be okay. You got a skill that could last forever. That's why guys like Cole, like I mentioned Kendrick, Drake, they're gonna be around for a while.
Yeah,
You
it's
got
a
it.
format that people can more identify with and appreciate because we tend to lose sight of it, even though we know that it's the case. But a wide, many different demographics of people are, consuming, hip hop music and culture. You know what I mean? And some of them can identify with, what Little Uzi Vert might be talking about.
Hmm.
Some of them can't identify with a Little Pump or, like whoever. So, or, what's the new guy, Takashi 69, who's the new sensation?
Yeah,
Some of them
yeah,
can't
Tekashi
identify
69.
with. A lot of them can because if you go on YouTube, this dude is doing streams and views in the millions. But I saw somebody say this on Facebook the other day. I think it was the hip hop podcast, Doggy Diamonds. Like it's dope to have streams, but it's another thing for like people to be, like waiting outside of a store to buy your album. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Although like people don't go to stores too much anymore, but I think it's that same feel that the lyrical hip hop artist creates, where people look forward to like, okay, what is he gonna do next, or what is she gonna do next? And yeah, you're right, like that's always gonna be something that's there.
Okay, all right. I got two questions for you on this topic right here, and I think you just brought it. Every time you keep talking, you bring up new points in my head. So, man, check this out. So you said people really be going to stores like that anymore.
Mhm.
I have a theory personally about stores. Like recently, you saw that Toys R Us is closing down.
Yeah, yeah, that was major. I
Yeah,
never thought
exactly.
about that.
But the thing is that that's not going to be the end of that. I mean, how soon is it till Best Buy and Target go out of business and
Mhm.
Amazon and online shopping just takes over everything? Well,
Mhm.
next thing you ride around the city in 30 years and all you see is maybe restaurants and grocery stores. That's pretty much like it for like people to actually go in and outside their house. You know,
Yeah, yeah. I
I
mean,
mean,
it's
it's coming to that point.
especially in big cities. I mean, look at it like this. Like I live in New York, one of the largest cities in the world, right? I'm seeing at a record rate, like all kind of like businesses shut down. Like I'll go to different parts of the city, Manhattan, places that you see blocks and blocks lined with all kind of stores. Like I'm seeing like a lot of stores just shut down. You know what I mean?
Crazy.
It's a crazy thing, and these are in like really busy areas, and a lot of it is like the overhead, like paying rent for a brick and mortar spot. You know what I mean? When you can just set up a website, have like a warehouse to like sell your goods, and you can do it that way. It's tough, man, and a lot of people are not like able to hack it. And then you mentioned another dynamic in terms of like people attending and just going out and like socializing. The way technology is right now, a person can get like a huge high definition big screen TV They can watch the big game in their living room,
Mm,
get the surround sound hooked up, and it's just like, or in some cases, even better than going to the stadium and
sitting in
watching
the
the actual
nosebleeds.
game, depending on where your seats are. I mean, it's better than being in the nosebleeds, but
Yeah,
that depends on your perspective too, because some people might say, well, I actually enjoy the experience of actually being there and taking in the vibe and the energy of the moment. And I kind of like agree with that. But
100%.
where people would say, hey, man, I could just do that in my own home. And I think I haven't looked at the numbers, but I'm sure if you do some research, you will probably find that actual live attendance for a wide variety of sports is probably on the decline, not because interest is on the decline, but because technology has made it where people don't necessarily have to leave their homes in order to have that really visceral and intense experience. I mean, some of these definition TVs, like they're really, really serious with it. So that's just where we're at. And then, buying clothes, buying all like electronics, all types of other things. You can run to Amazon and get what you need without leaving the house. You know what I mean? I
Right.
think it causes other problems though, because it creates a certain level of just the lack of like social skills, which are very important for people working at a business, on a job, or whatever, to be able to like interact with each other in a very organic and healthy way. I think you kind of like lose a little bit of that, and it's interesting to see where consumer and customer service, retail, and all of that stuff is gonna go in the coming years, because how I've known it is like you have to have like a certain amount of social skills to thrive in those areas. What happens when the bar is lowered for what that even is, So it's gonna be an interesting time, I think.
Yeah, and you see movies coming out. I don't know if you hip, but you ever see the trailer for Ready Player One? Are you familiar with that one?
I did see that trailer. What
Yeah.
movie did I go to see? I probably went to see Black Panther, and I
Okay.
think they showed the trailer for that film, and I was like, wow, like yeah, that's where we're at, man, and
Yeah.
that time.
Have you ever heard of the show Black Mirror on Netflix?
Black Mirror, yeah, yeah. Me and some of my friends were talking about it before it was even really, really like popular and prominent. But Black Mirror really shows you where things could potentially go with technology. I mean, one of my favorite episodes was the museum episode.
Oh, season four. Okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It had the same.
Go a second. Spoilers for everybody out there hasn't seen this yet. But yeah, go on. Just want to throw that out there.
Details. I was just gonna say like it was starring the same sister who played the technology expert in Black Panther. I don't know her name, but I think she's of Guyanese.
Shuri?
Sure,
Shuri?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, her. Like she was in that episode. That was like a fabulous episode, and I think my other favorite is probably the nosedive. That was a good.
Oh, yes. With social media on steroids, essentially.
And it's crazy because about a year, or was it a year or two? Was it 2 years? No, it wasn't 2 years. It was a year before that episode even came out. In one of my blogs, I was talking about how potentially our credit is going to be based upon social media, potentially.
I can
Like
see it.
your credit
Absolutely.
is based upon like your popularity on social media, and it serves a variety of functions. So I think that that's something that's a possibility. Yeah.
That's scary. That's scary as hell. Can you imagine living in it? Actually, think about like, I don't know, think of like the year 1837. To them, living that era, to looking at us right now, is an episode of Black Mirror.
Yeah, yeah,
So think
yeah,
about us. Yeah. Think about us right now, 200 years from now.
yeah.
Yeah, it'll be some crazy. But I was reading about the episode Nosedive because I was going to bring that up. China is evidently they're bringing a system in. It's somewhat like Black Mirror, where everybody has a rating, and you can
Really?
judge, yeah, and judge people off of rates. I have to see the article what I read off of that, but you even see that now, like your Uber driver.
Hmm.
Oh, this man has a 3.7 rating. I don't want to get in the car with this guy right here. Oh,
Yeah,
you got a 4.7? Okay, I'll hop in the car with you.
Yep.
I mean, it's already out there. It's just
Bronx,
not on a
yeah.
wide scale.
Yeah, but I think another thing too is that the social engineers who pretty much like run and set the entire social infrastructure for not only the country but the world right now. I think they'll probably look at it as like a benefit to have it where everybody is kind of like dependent on like the next person to have like a certain type of rating, because
Hmm.
what that does is it kind of like makes people less rebellious and more conformative, like more
Ooh,
willing
that's a
to.
great point.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna like go into any other details and like give these sick bastards any ideas, because I feel like I just did that just now. But
I
yeah,
mean, you watched the episode. Everybody was fake as hell in there.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah, it was
Uh,
to the end when they
based
just
upon
broke the
need,
system.
but it was based upon need.
Yeah, that's
That's why
right.
it's that way. Because yeah, it's wild.
So one more Black Mirror point. The Waldo moment and Donald Trump.
Oh boy, boy. I mean, when I woke up and I found out that this man was president. I mean, I was surprised, but it was really sad. And in my view, I looked at it as like really sad and pathetic that I saw people like making videos where they were like literally crying.
Hmm.
Like he's president, and it just made me feel like that's like a special level of like powerlessness where you feel like who the president is going to have like that much control over your life. I mean, you look at what black people in America have already been through. Like, look at, I mean, I just would like to say this to like every black person, like who even now feels like the back is against the wall. Like, look who you came from. Like, look what, our ancestors, have already gone through. And
Hmm.
we're the culmination of everything that they were. So that means that we have it within us to be even better. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, don't get too caught up in that. Like, lock down, and just focus on what your goals and directives are, and just push the pedal to the metal. Like, people were making their dreams come through true, like during the Reagan administration, during the Bush senior administration, during
Right.
the Bush Clinton, and you can go on and on and on. Like, people still gonna be, getting busy. They're still gonna be doing their thing, and one monkey don't stop the show. You know what I mean? I think that's the healthiest approach to take.
Yeah, that's the way I look at it too. I mean, there's so much going down at the like. Let me put like a comic book aspects for everybody out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have like battles in space, all these wide ranging, characters fighting each other, of almost god powers. But
Mm-hmm.
also you got like the street vigilante that's taking care of, make sure the mom and pop store ain't getting robbed. And
Right.
pretty much we're kind of like the street level. So
Mm-hmm.
we can control what happens right here in our own destiny. Like you putting out books, me doing the podcast, us
Exactly.
linking up. Like we could
People
still,
weren't doing people weren't doing that 20 years ago, like how we're doing it. I mean, you got
right.
your own channel, and you have the ability to grow it and develop it and get out to so many different people. I mean, it's a beautiful thing, man. I'm actually grateful, to be
100%.
alive in this time. I feel like this is a time where if you have the imagination and the creativity and the drive, there's so much you can get done. Of course, it's not easy because you have to cope with other factors such as support and people who are even maybe even close to you not recognizing the value that you bring to the table. And because you're not famous yet and you're not on TV, they may not be able to see the value that you're bringing to the table. But I really feel like if you like grind, you work hard, and you place yourself in alignment, you can get some beautiful things done, man. This is really a great time. I think people should be excited.
Yeah, yeah. Hard work always beats talent every day of the week. But if you got hard work and talent, I
Exactly.
mean, the world's your oyster, baby.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: you're a writer. You enjoy, we talked a little bit about, different type of TV shows and movies out there. You ever thought about writing your own script?
Ah, I've actually gotten started with that now. I'm not gonna like go into any detail on what it is, but you know, I definitely feel inspired to like, like do that. You know what I mean? I'm in the very early stages right now. I'm conceptualizing a lot of things. I haven't actually started writing the actual script, but I've already started writing, like pretty much creating a template of the flow of the story and some of the themes that I want to incorporate. And that's definitely something that I look forward to doing, like having uh, a movie that, I wrote on the big screen, you know.
That'd be great right there. Hey, I still got to read your book first, but
Yeah.
just talking to you right now, I would love to see what you could do with a screenplay. And I thought I'd write one myself too. What kind of actors, the music, the setting. I
Mhm.
won't give too much away too because I got a few ideas myself, and I wouldn't want you to go into any details as well. I wouldn't want to steal your idea out there.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this though: if there's an album tied back to hip hop, if there's an album out there that you could write a movie to, what album would it be and why? And I'll answer the question too right after that.
Wow. Um, hmm. That's a very good question. Um, hmm. So many, I listen to so many different types of music. Um, but you said hip hop, right? Or you
Well,
said,
actually, no, I want to keep leading hip hop. You're a creator, so whatever you want to go to, anything.
oh wow, that makes it even harder. But let me see. Uh, there's a few out there, but I probably wouldn't stick to the script, so to speak. I would probably fuse different albums together. How about that? Cross
Yeah, yeah,
genre.
yeah, it's
Maybe I
fine.
take John Coltrane's Giant Steps,
Okay.
infuse that with Raekwon's Only Built for Cuban Links.
Ooh.
Mix that with Bob Marley's Catch a Fire.
Okay.
Maybe a
All
little
right. All right. All right.
sprinkle
All right. All
of
right.
Jimi Hendrix's Band of Gypsies. I mean, there's so many different places you can go, but I love music, man, and that's really a great idea. Music really inspires my writing, though.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think music inspires your writing, inspires me too, and it's
Mhm.
also united of people. Like you
Mhm.
go to a concert of let's pick an artist. Like this, I never went to a Bob Marley concert. Did you ever get a chance to go ever
Yeah,
go see him?
it's funny you asked me. Yeah, I did. I went to see him at, I don't know if it was the Beacon Theater. Like the name is not important because it doesn't really resonate with people who are outside of the city. But
Hmm.
um, I did go to see one of his last concerts, and he was done with one of his songs, and I was like a little boy in the crowd. You know what I mean? I probably was like maybe 2, 3 years old, and I said, "Ja Rastafari," and he was like, "Yes, my you." Like he actually heard me. So I had that
That's dope.
with Bob Marley. My mother like always told me that story. Like, yeah, he actually heard you, and he was like, "Yes, my you." So that was my experience, going to like a concert. Bob Marley, yeah, one of the legends.
I remember in what movie was it in? It was I Am Legend. I hope this is a true story. I won't say it anyway. With Will Smith, and he said that Bob Marley had got shot, or he got shot. He I guess the next day he performed.
Yeah,
He did Three Little Birds.
yeah. There's a documentary on that where I think, yeah, it was the night. I think he did like a mini thing in that night, and then he like literally just left the hospital, and I think he performed that night, but it was to a smaller audience. And then the following night, he also performed.
Yeah, yeah,
Serious back then, man.
yep, yeah, yeah, because he felt that that love will conquer all, and that he wouldn't
Mhm.
let like anybody with any
Yeah,
type of bad intentions win over him. And I thought that's
yeah.
beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful right there.
And you know what's beautiful about that his story is the fact that you know people like to like especially today, like you look at like a lot of artists, like they present themselves as like thugs and gangsters. We harder than hard. we
Yeah,
we don't even smile, we don't even have love for nothing.
we don't
you know
dance in the club.
yeah, we don't do any of that. But when you talk about Bob Marley, and for people who know the history, like they know what's up. Like you know, he rolled with like some of the most hardened like gangsters for real. And
Hmm.
in his own way, he wasn't like, no, flower himself. You know what I mean? Like, he had like, like an edge to him, you know what I'm saying, so to speak. And he didn't make any of his music reflect that. He made music where an old lady can experience it and enjoy it, or a 4-year-old little boy. And they can all receive the message and what he meant and what he was trying to convey in the intent that he was trying to convey it with. I think that's a form of genius. You know what I mean? That
Hmm.
is unparalleled. Imagine it takes a certain level of ability to make music that children can enjoy that is not corny. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
And
Yeah.
that's dope.
Music's definitely subjective, and if you could reach all genre, not all genres, but all age demographics,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, ooh, that you got it in the bag, man. Bob Marley, one of the greatest, and it's in the Marley family. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they all are incredibly
Still
talented.
rolling. Still rolling. Yeah.
Yeah, so that name's gonna live on forever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right, so let's finally get into it. I gotta know, how'd you meet Chris? How'd you link up?
Mm-hmm.
What's the story behind it?
Chris, that's my dude, man. Shout out to Chris. What's
Hey,
up,
shout out
Chris?
to Chris. What's up
Yeah,
with you?
probably see this later. But yeah, man. I just checked my email one day, and I got an email from like one of my blog readers, as I get from time to time. But I was just struck with like the lucidness with which he like analyzed my writing and broke it down. I was like damn, like this dude is serious. But he read like one of my blogs, and he also read the first ebook that I ever wrote. Like, it was a book that I just wrote and gave away for free. It was like 40 pages. I'm probably gonna write something, in terms of like a screen thing, to develop that a little bit more. And it's in the vein of a Black Mirror. And I wrote that back in 2014. You know what I
Sign
mean?
me up.
Before there was even a Black Mirror, it had like those types of concepts in terms of addressing technology, where it can potentially go, how it can potentially, have different effects on people. But anyway, we corresponded by email. Like, he was like giving me his, impression of the blog, and I was like, thanks, man. That's much appreciated. And then I got another email, and he was saying he had questions about the ebook that I wrote, and I was like, well, yeah, like, here's my number. Like, if you're available at this time, Eastern Standard Time, you can give me a call, and I'll answer your questions. I was just really struck by the maturity of his thinking in terms of like, these very abstract concepts, and his ability to like really get what I was conveying. Sometimes as a writer, even if you have a lot of readers, which I did even at that time, you don't really know how your work is being received and how people are processing your work. So to get his feedback and to hear what he had to say about it, and possibly see what questions he had, I was like, let me see what, like, questions he had. And he asked me like some of the best questions anybody had ever asked me. And we just maintained contact ever since then. Like, he invited me to come see his brother box, which was an event.
Yeah, yeah, B, yeah.
Yeah, it was an event like kind of like sponsored by the military, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? And I went to go see that. It was a enjoyable event, and we just been in contact ever since, like sharing our views on, popular culture, hip hop, metaphysics, the occult, what people call metaphysics and the occult. I just like to say the spiritual sciences.
Yeah.
And we just been building, man. Good brother.
I got something for you with that as well too. Cause I watched that interview y'all did together a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did. Yeah, yeah. He sent that thing to me. But yeah, Chris, I'm pretty sure he told you we used to live together. He used to live with us.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I think you mentioned that.
Yeah. I had just met the man, but we talked for a little bit, and I like the vibe I was getting. The energy was good, and he lived with us for this is back in like 2013. No, 2012 he moved in with us, and the vibe and energy was good, man.
Where was this again?
It's in Oklahoma. It's in Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. Right.
Yeah, yeah. He lived with us for about a year, and yeah, that was 2012. We've been, like two, I consider him a brother. Same likewise with him. Two brothers. They always want, butt heads from time to time, but at the end of the day, that's my guy, and I got his back 100%. So
Yeah, man.
yeah,
I really admire the way like he just follows his heart, man. You know what I mean? Like he just
yeah,
lets it go. Like I mean, I was joking with him the other day. It's like who does that? Like 1 minute he's in Peru, next minute he's in Texas, then he's in California, and this is all in less than a year's time. And other places. So I just like how he just gets up and go and he does what he wants, man. He doesn't let life happen to him. He makes his life. He creates his life. And it's great to have people like that around you. You know what I mean? Like that's how I, attempt to move. But I move a little bit different, a little bit more on the conservative side. But I really admire like how he developed.
yeah. He's always been like that. Even back then, like one weekend, he'd be like, "All right, Rick, I'm going to Denver." I'm like,
Yeah,
like, all right, hey, have a good, enjoy
yeah.
yourself, have a good time. He actually, man, I felt bad, but there's nothing I could have did about it. So my wife, she's about to have our first son. Um, Actually, something I want to bring up to you about that too. I'm keeping that plug in there in case I forget.
Okay.
Um, she's about to have our first son. It's June 3rd, my birthday, and Chris was like, it was a few days before. Our son was supposed to be born a little bit later in June, and
Hmm.
Chris was like, hey Rick, it's probably like the end of May. He's like, hey Rick, I bought his tickets to go to Denver for the weekend, man. I'm like, Chris, I would love to go with you, but she's like 9 months pregnant, and this baby could happen at any time from here until like the mid June.
Right.
Bro, I don't know what to tell you. I can't do nothing for you. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's one of the many stories we got. It's so much. I mean, I think you watched our last podcast we did.
Yes, I did. I did. I
Yeah,
enjoyed it.
yeah,
Pretty
yeah.
good.
It was great, man. It's always good to talk to him, especially face to face. We're not really face to face, but at least I can look
It's
at him.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, yeah. But it's wild, man. That dude's been through a lot. He's accomplished a lot. He's
Hmm.
got a lot more to accomplish. I tell him to always stop being so lazy, get in that booth, drop that 10 track mixtape and go and push it out there.
Right.
Which I feel like I'm Diddy to his J Electronica. What you waiting on? You know?
Oh, don't say that about electronica, J Electronica. Around. Like, did you see the video where he actually? Well, yeah, like he got a chance to meet him.
Yeah, yeah. They
I
had
talked about that in the podcast. I remember, but
yeah, that was dope. He showed me the picture. They had the 44s behind him too.
yeah.
Yeah,
Electronica spitting his bars, and he's like right beside him, like spitting along with him in the camera, like they knew each other for like 10 years. Like only Chris, does shit like that. You know what I mean? Make it happen.
yeah, exactly. I'm glad he actually got to meet him because he been talking about it for years. He had a chance to meet him a couple years back, but I can't forget. I forget. I think he said it's something he missed or he didn't get something happened. He didn't get to meet him, but if he would have went to his event, he would have met him. But I'm finally glad he got to meet this guy. Jay
Mm.
Electronica seems like a pretty cool cat, and I love his bars. I'm a huge fan of him.
Yeah.
Another cat need to drop an album, but neither here nor there.
When it
So
happens, it happens.
yeah, exactly. So this one I want to talk to you about. So I watched it was years ago when Chris was wearing the Bucks jersey, and you having a conversation sitting on the park bench.
Oh wow, yeah. I love
Yeah,
that, man. I don't know why that didn't get more views, man. I thought that was dope, but
that was a great conversation. Yeah, it
yeah.
was a great conversation. But
Yeah.
something you said in there that stuck out to me too. So you mentioned the number 22 means a lot to you.
Mm.
So both of my kids are born on the 22nd. One's born on the 22nd of June. The other's born on the 22nd of September. So I thought that was like an interesting twist with everything you said too. Because I was doing a little bit of research for the podcast. Got check a few things out with you again, get some got to rehash, remember. But
Well,
I
I
thought it
think
was great.
my mother was born on September 22nd.
Was that?
Taken my lady's mother, like
Oh, okay, okay.
was born on September 22nd, and I think Clyde Drexler was born on June 22nd. If
That's
I'm
why you
not,
wore number 22.
yeah, yeah.
That's crazy.
That was
So
my favorite basketball player back in the day, man. I just last summer got my first Clyde, well, my first professional NBA Clyde Drexler jersey. I was so geeked like a kid. You know what I mean? Just getting that for the first time. I had the college jersey, but I got the actual Trailblazers jersey when he was in his prime. So
Oh,
yeah.
I went to one of his years ago. Years ago, it's back, of course, in like the early '90s. My pops took me to a Bullets a Blazers game, and
Oh,
Clyde. I remember Clyde Drexler being on there just cooking. I mean,
yeah,
of course, that's probably like 5 or 6. I don't even know who these cats are, but I remember 22 out there just
yeah,
hurting them left
yeah,
and right.
yeah. He
He's
was
very
great.
Yeah, he's very underrated too. He doesn't get enough love.
Nah. People don't realize like at that time it was Jordan and it was Drexler. You know what I mean? At one time. So
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
and nobody mentions it, but I mean, the victor goes to spoils.
But he's a Hall of Famer, so obviously people kind of realize on some level what he brought. So you know.
Yeah, I went to the Basketball Hall of Fame this past summer.
Hmm.
I don't know if you ever got a chance to go, but I highly recommend it.
Yeah, I would like to go, man. It's funny, man, because like I was a basketball fanatic at one point. Like I used to
Yeah.
play basketball like
Mhm.
all the time. I was pretty, good. I went to Tilden High School. I wasn't good enough to be on varsity, so I'm not gonna like front, but I was pretty good though. You know what I mean? And I, remember like going to try out for the team, and then like actually just like leaving because I was like I just got tired of waiting too long. I wasn't, thinking like too right back in high school, I guess, but I had like a real good jump shot back then, but at my height, you know what I mean, I would have had to have been a point guard. Like I wasn't like 6'4" or nothing. So
Yeah.
ball handling was not, my strength, you know what I mean? Like I used to shoot the jump shot, block shots, I rebounded well, post people up well, but I remember I used to play, tape the games, but I would say since like 2003, I haven't really watched much basketball. Like I don't really know any of the players. I mean, I know a
Hmm.
few players, but the Hardens, the what's the guy on the Lakers, the new kid who got
Oh, Lonzo.
yeah, Lonzo Ball, people like that, and of course LeBron and all those people. But I don't really know the players, man. It's crazy to me when I go to like a laundromat or I go to somebody's house and the game is on and I'm watching with interest, but I don't know who none of those people are. But back in the days, I used to know everybody. You know what I mean? But it's just me being like so like caught up in work and like just owning my craft and
Hmm.
trying to cultivate my abilities and not, that's taken me away of like from watching what other people are doing. And I've more been, like trying to like be that person on my own stage where people are watching what I'm doing and I can, make a living from what I enjoy and what I love. So
I
that,
under, so so one creator talking to another. I understand that a lot more than most people do. That you're so busy making your craft and honing your craft that you don't have to really time to pay attention. You're aware of what's going on out there, but
yeah.
you're trying to
To
just hone
the
on
extent that I
like
have to be in order to like keep my finger on the pulse. But
exactly, and also that you don't want to pick up anybody else's. Like for me personally, like doing a podcast, like I'll listen to other podcasts, like Joe Budden's out there doing this thing.
yeah.
It's a few cats I'll just listen to. I like to hear their opinion, but when it comes to podcasting, I like I don't want to listen to too many people
Uh-huh.
because I want to be able to just focus on what I'm doing right now. And I
Yeah.
feel like I get a little more established than that. I can go in and bring some others around me, and then together we can go and take off. But I gotta make sure I'm good to go first before I can bring anyone else along for the ride. Because
Yeah.
I ain't trying to crash. We ain't trying to crash together. If we gonna
And you
crash,
seem
I'm gonna
like
crash by myself.
you're pretty much like a natural at this. You know what I mean? Like I was noticing that, during the podcast with you and Chris, like, it just like flows easily. But like you alluded to, like, in order to thrive and excel in any field, you have to study the greats. You have to study the people who are good at what they do, past or present. And I've done that. But, like you also said, you don't want to watch and internalize people too much because what that does is it robs you of it robs other people of receiving the gift that is you because you
Perfect.
bring something to the table that those people don't bring but is needed. So that's very important that you kind of like still lock into yourself. and find your voice and how you do things and get that uniqueness out there.
Yeah. Because some people out there, they're comfortable being a copycat of somebody else, but I feel it's enough in my being that who I am that
Yeah,
I could put myself out there. You know, the people love it, they love it. They don't, they don't. But you know what? In the day, it was me doing it.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah,
and I appreciate the compliment with the natural, with
yeah,
the natural gift. So we'll see
yeah,
what we'll see where it goes.
yeah.
But this is what I want to go to next though. We start talking, so that's all good to go.
Mhm.
Um, back to the 22s, numerology. You said you know you're pretty well in that aspect, that genre, that
I,
subject matter.
I know a little bit of numerology. You know what I mean? I don't consider myself a master. I'm more of a student, but yeah,
Okay.
there's definitely a numerological meaning behind me embracing that number. I mean, I was born on the 22nd, October 22nd to be exact.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Libra, so yeah, it does hold some meaning for me. 22 is one of the master numbers. It's the master builder actually, and I build things. You know what I mean? I build universes, pretty much.
What do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is I set, I develop like templates that someone can take it and like fill it out, and make some like add something to it, and it becomes like something else that kind of like just keeps going and going and going. It's crazy because I haven't really had the type of backing that I would have liked to, like materialize all of my ideas. I have so many ideas, and what I've done, in more recent years is I'll see people with certain talents and abilities, and I'll be like, well, I know that I can do this, but I think this person is better at it than I am, so I'll just give them an idea. You know what I mean? And they'll like take it and rock it. So I feel like I'm a builder, you know what I mean, in the world of ideas, in the world of concepts. So yeah, like I build things, I build empires in the air, and I build universes. That's how I see myself.
This kind of goes back to what you said about you're nice with a pen and you gave a few bars out to a few cats out here in these streets.
Mm, yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
That's interesting. Yeah, because both my kids, like I said, they're both born on the 22nd as well too. So that's very interesting. It's amazing watching them. Like even like small things. They love. I mean, they're both boys, so they love just man shit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Cars. Yeah, building Legos. Beat me up whenever they get a chance to.
Take things apart, see how they work.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So it's interesting you say that as far as master building and things that I already see with them. I'm with them on a daily basis, so that's interesting to learn from that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, damn, dude, that's cool as shit. So it's something I want to talk to you about. You mentioned it earlier. You said your ethnic background is from Ghana.
Well, no, my name is Ghanaian.
Okay,
My name is Ghanaian, but I would say, yeah, my ethnic background is, from Ghana too, because a lot of Jamaicans, I've heard people say that, a lot of Jamaicans came from, like Nigeria or whatever. But my research in terms of what I've observed, in terms of even just certain terms that are used, a lot of Jamaicans actually come from Ghana and, different parts of West Africa as well. So, yeah, like I think Ghana is also a part of, my heritage when draw it out and you go further back. Funny enough, usually when Africans approach me and they like start talking to me in, whatever, like language they speak, because that happens, every now and then, it's always somebody from Ghana. You know what I mean? It's always somebody from Ghana. So I guess they look at me and they say, "Hey, you from Ghana?" You know what I mean? So actually, it's Ghana, and another country is Burkina Faso, where people have done that. Nobody from Nigeria has ever approached me and start talking to me like that, or any other African country. It's always Ghana, and in a few instances, I've experienced Burkina Faso. So yeah, I would embrace that as part of my ethnic heritage without a doubt. But both my parents are from Jamaica, and yeah, that's my lineage, man. Like the place where like reggae dancehall, like took root, where, there's so many like, beautiful dishes that people know and love. I mean, Jamaica is well cemented in popular culture, even in non-Jamaican circles. So
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
proud. I'm proud of that lineage.
Hey, you should be. So, I recently did a DNA kit.
Ah,
Yeah, I spit in a bottle, and 6 weeks
nice,
later, yeah.
nice.
So yeah, I give you the 100% real. I'm sitting on the toilet, about to take a shit, and the email comes in. I'm like, oh, hold up a second. Let
Hmm.
me check this thing out real quick. See what I made out of.
Hmm.
And it was three countries came back. They were all in the 20. They were well, one was 19%, but essentially 20%.
Hmm.
So it was 19% Ghana, Ivory Coast.
Hmm.
So you said it just kind of clicked my mind. 21% was Irish, Scottish, Wales,
Hmm.
and 24% was Nigeria.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. So before this being of me is over on this planet, I need to go visit at least a couple of those countries just to see how people used to live, to see what it was about, to see exactly what the past was.
Yeah,
Nigeria, it was never on my list, and I can't wait. I can't wait to go.
yeah, yeah. It's I've had some just some spiritual explorations in the past year, and it's crazy because the art for this country that I'm about to mention like has appealed to me for so long. Like when I originally started like really getting deep into exploring the spiritual sciences of different ancient cultures. Uh, Kemet, which most people know as Egypt, really was something that really captured me and got my attention. And even before I was even into that type of information, I remember my first day in kindergarten. Like I actually tried to build the Sphinx in the sandbox. Now, this is a true story.
Nice. Nah, I like it. I like it. I like it. Go
I
on.
didn't know what it was called, but it had like something that appealed to me, and I was trying to rebuild it in the sandbox. But long story short, I've always had a love for Benin art, the art of Benin. Like it's just so beautiful, so raw, so powerful, so forceful. And I've always loved the art. There's something that is very, in my view, um, primordial. It's like ancient, ancient, and beyond ancient. Like going back to a time where, yeah, man, like mythical times. You know what I mean? Like there's
Mm,
something really beautiful about it. And I was put on to like a connection that I actually have to Benin by a person who doesn't know me. And it really so inspired me that this person was able to know things about me that I had never really shared. And, I was like, yo, I need to go to Benin. You know what I mean? I'm going to
mm.
make it happen. And it was not a part of my plans at any time. But after that, I was like, yeah, I definitely, gotta go, and I'm gonna make that trip soon. But I'm just prioritizing. I'm also trying to go to Cambodia as well, visit the
Nice.
temple complex of Angkor Wat, see what happens. But yeah, man, life is just like an adventure, man. Like that's where I'm at right now. It's like just so many things brewing, going on that I can't even talk about, man, because it's like I gotta just let it cook out, and everybody will see the dish when it's ready to be served.
Hey, 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 that's a beautiful way to say it. Oh, hey, if you don't mind, I ain't gonna steal that one right there. You make sure you copyright that one so no one else can take that.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Yeah,
So Benin, do you feel like you have a special connection to this place, this country? Maybe somewhere back in the
yeah,
past, an
yeah,
ancestor?
yeah, definitely. I mean, I did my like DNA testing, and I've heard people say that these tests are BS, but I know a significant amount about my lineage going back, and the test that I took, really confirmed what I know, and it added to my knowledge in other ways. So, what I found is that there's a connection with me with Ghana, Togo, which is very much in alignment with, like what I was even saying before in terms of like who actually approaches me and, embraces me. Like there's even this lady, she walks with her children in the morning, when I'm, like heading out. And, we always say good morning to each other in passing. And one day I was like, you know what? I'm gonna ask her where she's from. I bet she's from Ghana. And I was
Hmm.
like, where you from? And she was like, I am from Ghana. And I was like, I knew it, I knew it. So, there's a connection between people that we don't really understand. Sometimes we feel like a natural affinity to people and we can't explain why. And we feel like certain people repel us and we can't explain why. It's not necessarily anything that they've done, but we just don't vibe with them too much. You know, a lot of that is rooted in genetics, DNA, and the lines that we come from. You know what I'm saying? And it's a real thing. And I'm glad that I took that test. But yeah, like to answer your question, like I do feel a spiritual connection with Benin, although Benin didn't really come up in my results. But having studied the culture more, like going back to the homie and the whole culture as it relates to Vodun and just how colorful it is. Like they do with spirituality what I endeavor to do with the culinary arts. And it's interesting because the old name of Benin in terms of like the empire that they had established at the height of their culture and civilization was the Dahomey. And it means Da is in the belly. Da meaning the serpent that, people may be more familiar with as Dambala through the Haitian Vodun. But in Benin, it was Da. And to my understanding, Dahomey means Da is in the belly, and the belly meaning the gut. So
Hmm.
it's interesting that they were able to like take different elements of traditional African spirituality and make their own, system with it. And ironically, like that's something that is, very prominent in the culinary world, where people fuse different cuisines together. And you might have a restaurant, and the restaurant is heavily leaning towards Asian cuisine, but there are elements from West Africa. There are elements from Italy. There are elements from France, and it's a beautiful artistic exploration of the culinary arts, and I feel like they have that similar approach, and they were already on that fusion wave, way back, and I think that's one of the reasons why that culture appeals to me, and I'm looking forward to visiting, and going over there and seeing what I find.
Sounds like you already got your next book written.
I have like a few threads of things that I want to do, man. But like me and Chris, we talk about it sometimes. I just want to like travel more. I haven't really gotten the opportunity to do that. I mean, I've traveled in my mind. I've traveled through reading. I've traveled by talking to interesting people. But you know, different family connections and circumstances have more had me rooted where I'm at. In the country in terms of being in New York and going to different parts of the country, but I'm looking forward to like leaving the country again, and just seeing what I find. You know what I mean? And I think that is really going to make the next book that I write that much richer. So yeah, I can write another book, but to reach a certain standard that I already have for myself to go beyond what I've already done. Like I know that travel is a big part of that because I want my stories to be reflecting like my travels.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people don't. Well, I know money is also is always an issue with a lot of people. I mean, it's an issue with everybody essentially. But a travel is something that everybody should do a lot more.
Yeah,
Like even if it's not going to a different country, just get out of the city you live in, going to a different state. Just going somewhere. Just dealing with different people.
yeah,
I'm not recommending that somebody go in the heart of with Dixie where they don't like black people if you are of that nature. I'm not saying that right there, but I mean just get out and just do different things. Get out of your
word,
comfort zone essentially, and
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. You traveling is wonderful. Yeah, you
Yeah. I
traveling
want
and writing.
to go
Yeah,
into that. I mean, and it's funny because like, monetary wise, like I had like many opportunities where I, could have, went a couple of places, man. But, just, circumstances where they are and I'm no longer in that place. So it's about, just putting everything together and like getting it done. Like I invested in going to culinary school beforehand, and then I invested and like other things, vested in my book and my book company. I'm gonna probably write all of my books under my own banner. I like to do things myself. I'm really a control freak. People who don't know
mhm.
me see me as very laid back because I don't really talk that much, especially if we don't really have anything in common that I can see. But I really like to control things, not in a bad way. I don't try to control people, but I like to be in control of what I create, and that's one of the reasons why like I just look forward to like just doing things under my banner. Not to say that if one of these major book houses come to me and they give me a number, I might think about it and I might do something in another genre of writing, under one of those banners. But I really like the idea of like putting out my book, doing it myself, doing the promotion myself, because it offers me so much of an opportunity to learn other dynamics. Like I'm not just a writer, I'm a distributor. Like I go to bookstores, I talk to bookstore managers. Uh, some have told me like, yeah, we don't, want to, carry your book. We only carry the classics. And I'm like, excuse me?
Yeah, exactly.
Like this is a new classic. And then other people are like, hey, you gave us, like I gave like one particular bookstore like 2 weeks to actually read the book. And they were like, and this is a very prominent bookstore out here in New York that specifies to people who want to like get books on like the spiritual sciences. And they were like, yeah, we want to carry your book. So my book has been selling there. And, just this whole experience outside of just being a writer. Like, I'm a businessman, and I'm talking to, the bookstore owners. I'm getting my book on the shelf. I'm selling my book to people in not only America, but, Europe, like getting it into their hands. And I'm learning a lot about distribution. I'm learning a lot about, like just rolling out a product, how to market it to people, how to, just appeal to their interests and, just getting things out there. And it's been a great experience, man. So I really like that aspect of it too, outside of just the writing, but interacting with the readers and, just getting it on the shelves. It's been a beautiful experience.
Yeah, and that's very important too, especially in both of our specific fields. That you essentially have to be your own businessman, your own agent. You have to get out and talk to the people. Show them your face. Let them know there's a person behind the art.
Yeah.
Having somebody else out there doing the work for you is great,
Mhm.
but it has to be you. It has to be me out there. Pushing our face forward. Make sure that everything's done to our liking. Because this very podcast right now, somebody could copy it, make a post about it,
Mhm.
and the post could not represent exactly the energy that we conveyed between each other, and I wouldn't like that.
Identity theft in my own way. So yeah, I feel what you said. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I 100% salute to you, and I hope it all works out. And I can't wait to read your book.
Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate that.
Yeah. So let's go and end off on this right here. So let me ask you a question. It's
Mhm.
it's kind of, I'm gonna say it's difficult, but it requires a little bit of thinking. But you're a thinking man, so I have 100% faith in you.
Mhm.
Um,
Not when I'm on a full stomach though.
yeah,
Yeah, man.
yeah,
I'm about to
uh,
eat in a few. I'm like, yo, man, once this like food settle in, I'm gonna be gone. Like
yeah,
deep.
exactly. That's how it is. Night, night. See y'all
Yeah,
later.
yeah, man.
So 5 years from now, where do you see yourself in your in MindGlow TV?
Mindglow TV. I think I see Mindglow as a way for me to Mindglow TV specifically as a way for me to just touch down and like interact with people. Just do videos and like presentations that really speak to my personal interest. But it's like as of right now, I might change my mind uh, tomorrow, because I'm
Right.
writing. But as of right now, it's a small part of what I'm doing. It's a way for people to uh, internalize my ideas and like things that I want to build on in a more digital media format, more of a video audio oriented way, as opposed to like the written blogs and the books. So I think it's going to be very critical in terms of getting out to new audiences and finding new people who might be interested in the things that I want to explore, whether it be the spiritual sciences, whether it be the culinary arts. I have a different imprint for my culinary stuff, which I'll be doing a Feast Life Fellowship. Um, that's my other banner, so I got that popping, and I plan to have like both of these, and I'm gonna like balance the two, and I'm just looking forward to the places that it takes me. You know what I mean? It could take me to Hollywood. It can take me to the New York Times bestseller list. I mean, you never really know what life has in store for you, but I'm just hungry for life. I got the grays in my beer, but I'm probably more hungry and more vibrant and more aggressive about going after what I want than I've ever been. So that's where I'm at, and I have the experiences and the refinement to lean on as well. So yeah, man, sky's the limit, and really, skies ain't even a limit. It's whatever altitude you can go to. That's the real limit. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's well said right there.
mhm,
I don't want to get too myself personally. I don't want to get too caught up in how many views and subscribers I have, anything like that. With me, it's
mhm,
just pretty much just staying pure to the subject. Whoever I got on here, always showing the utmost respect.
mhm.
Just keeping the content, just keep churning it out. Make sure it's good. Make sure the content will be good, but
Yeah,
just make sure it's getting out there. Make sure
consistency is a
make,
big thing. Not to interrupt, but like
you
I
good.
just speak on it because when I first started doing my blog, my MindGlow Media blog, which is www.thirdeyemax.net. That's THIRDEYE Max. That's MAX.net. When I first started, I probably had like under 100 readers,
Mhm.
for like the first like month or maybe even few months. Then it went to a few hundreds, and I started saying, "Oh snap! 100 people read my blog this month. Yeah, I'm winning." And then it went into like few hundreds. Then it went into the thousands. Then when it went into the thousands, it kept going. And advancements in YouTube and video oriented media has kind of like cut into some numbers, but again, like early this year, I experienced another all-time high in my readership, and that is really based upon being consistent and growing consistently. You know what I mean? And I tell anybody like don't be discouraged at the numbers. If you love what you do, keep doing it. Do it consistently, and you will, I guarantee you will see it begin to pick up. People are going to start tuning in. People are going to tell other people, and then, before you know it, you got a large following, especially if you are natural, which you clearly are. So,
All right, much love.
yeah, it's a dope thing.
Yeah, yeah. I'm looking forward to the ride. I'm enjoying the wave right now. I'm hungry. I just want to just keep churning it out. I'm looking forward to talking to so many more people. But put it to the side right now. Talking to you was wonderful.
Thanks, man.
Great. Yeah,
Likewise, it's dope.
yeah. I was looking forward to this all
I
day.
don't really get too many opportunities to do things like this, but I'm looking forward to doing more of it. You know what I mean? In terms of like people seeing me, there's a lot of people who read my work and they don't even know what I look like. You know what I mean? I mean, I
Right.
got a lot of people who read my work and they're on Instagram, Facebook, so to speak, but the bulk of the people who read me, like they don't even know. So, it's nice to have things like this where it's like, I can say, hey, how you doing? Hi,
Yeah.
you know,
I'm
hey,
a person. I'm alive.
yeah, yeah, I'm
I
alive.
have
Yeah,
skin.
yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah. That's great, man. Actually, I probably honestly I probably go off for another like hour and a half just talking to you about so much other shit. But I'm gonna save that one right there because we're gonna get Chris on here another day. We're
oh
gonna make
yeah,
it
yeah,
happen with the
we all
trio.
do it up. That's gonna be crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. And we a whole bunch of other stories pop out that I'm pretty sure that that probably ain't safe for YouTube, but we're gonna drop it anyway. I'm looking forward to it.
It's all good, yo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Hey, much love to everybody out there. Um, something I want to say real quick. Yeah. Treasure of Darkness out. Cop it.
Yeah.
Just let them know one more time. Yeah, there it is right there. Let them know one more time where they can buy that.
They can buy it at mindglowbooks.com. That's www.mindglowbooks.com. Make your next move your best move and get that book. You won't regret it. So it's a good piece of literature.
Hey. And that link will be in the description below.
Hmm.
All right, everybody. Live cast over. You have a good night.
All right. Good night. Take care.